Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Connected by Community, a podcast brought to you by Ballantine Capital Advisors. And we're here to give you business interests, nonprofits, and local interests in our community. And I'm joined by Cameron Cannon from our office. And also, we're joined by Tom Kassab. Did I do that right?
You did.
All right. Well, cool. We got a couple names I can mess up here. We've been joking about it. I passed. And he is with Justin Winter, Sotheby's.
Right.
International Real Estate. And so we're here to talk about something that's near and dear, I think, to everyone, because no matter who we are, we live somewhere, right?
That's right.
Or we play somewhere, or we live and play. And so real estate's been kind of hot in the community and all over the country. But, you know, living here in the Southeast, we've been blessed with a lot of folks moving this way, too.
We have.
So I want to touch on all those kind of things. But before we jump into that, just real quick for our audience, kind of how long have you been in the area? Where did you come from? Are you married, kids, any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So, well, number one, I'm married and I do have two children.
Awesome.
They're grown up now.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from Grosse Pointe, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. And when I was young, probably when I was about 9 years old, we moved to South Florida and kept our house in Michigan, went to school, during the school year in Florida, moved or went back to Michigan in the summertime. So kind of had the best of both worlds, never saw winter. And then in 1995, I actually was in the early 90s, about 1993. A friend of mine, his name was Ron Petty. He was the chief or the president of Burger King. In my company, we were in the stainless steel and kitchen equipment and commercial furniture equipment business, and we supplied about 72% of all the Burger Kings worldwide. And Ron was president. He was a personal friend of mine and decided to join Denny's. And so about 6 weeks after he joined, he called me up and he said, "Hey, I want to remodel all the Denny's. Do you want to do them?" And I said, "Sure." And I commuted from South Florida to Spartanburg every other week for 2 years and decided to start a family. And in 1995, moved to Greenville. Been here since. Sold our company in 1999. I started another company, an automotive company, then in 99, 2000. And so I've been here since.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome.
And my son is, he's 26. He's out of the Marine Corps now. He was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and he's coming to work for me for my company. And in addition to my automotive business, which is automotive, marine, and aviation, my wife and I are real estate agents for Justin Winter Sotheby's, and we handle the Greenville market as well as the southern end of Lake Keowee.
Awesome. You're a busy guy.
Well, once in a while.
Yeah. Well,
I still have fun though.
Yeah, you work it in, right?
Well, I love to work, but we do fun things too. So
awesome.
We have a great neighbor at the lake. This guy right here.
So we're going to talk about that. So it's two different markets. I mean, even though they've both been booming, maybe let's talk about Greenville first. Greenville's been fortunate and been blessed to be on all these lists of places to live, and it obviously is attractive. So what do you see happening in the general market around here? Are prices still skyrocketing? What kind of do you see going on at a high level in the Greenville market?
Well, let's start out with supply and demand. So we have why are people moving here? Number one, we have a great economy. We have BMW, which is their North America manufacturing is right here in the Spartanburg, Greer area. And that has created 65 manufacturing facilities, tier one manufacturing facilities. You also have Michelin and GE and some other large companies here. We also have a large network of hospital systems. We have two big hospital systems, and we're going to probably see MUSC moving this way as well. So we'll have three big hospital systems here. So We also have Clemson ICAR, International Center of Automotive Research, right here on Lawrence Road. So we've created a big base of manufacturing and employment here. That's number one. And that was happening before we had all these people moving here that are retired or want to come from California, Colorado, the Midwest, because the cost of living here is a lot less expensive than it is in those states. And just for example, in California, we all know about what their gas prices are out there, and their taxes are out there, and everything else that they have to pay for out there compared to here. We're getting a lot of people that are kind of fed up with paying all those fees and taxes to live a better lifestyle here. So you can get a lot more for the money here. You sell a $5 million house there, you can buy $1 million house here and have a similar or even better lifestyle and not pay for all those taxes. So what's happening is what was on the market is evaporating very quickly, and we're not getting people selling their property as quickly as there was before, because what are you going to buy? You are familiar with, what's going on with that. So a lot of people are holding on to their property unless they're getting relocated somewhere else, but we're really not, or if they're downsizing. That's the other reason why somebody would sell their property. So the same thing's happening with the lake. In that situation, it's just a matter of supply and demand. There's a very little supply, lots of demand that's driving that price.
So do you see, if we stick into Greenville, is it more your people, families that are working and over at the lake at second houses, or are you seeing people making their primary home up at the lake?
We're seeing actually both. And it's probably, what I'm seeing is probably a 50-50. I'm seeing a lot of people that are moving here from out of state, like we talked about, that are buying permanent residence at the lake. And I'm also seeing people from different areas, a lot from like the Charleston area, coincidentally, south or parts of Florida. Recently, we've sold properties to that are having second homes at the lake, and some people from Greenville area that want to have second homes at the lake. So we're seeing a kind of a 50-50 mix between permanent, full-time, and part-time living there.
And so in the Greenville market, I know I hear from clients and such when they're looking for homes is very, very competitive. When they're making bids and where they go and et cetera.
I can tell you a story.
I'd love to hear it.
I was going to say, I just bought a house about 9 months ago in downtown Greenville, so I can personally attest to that.
Yeah, you lost some, right?
Yeah, I put in like 3 or 4 bids on houses, but I got fairly lucky. I was looking in the downtown Greenville market, kind of similar to what a young family might be looking at. And yeah, I mean, I put bids in on 4 or 5 houses and lost a few, and I actually ended up getting lucky because I was overbidding on a few of them, which I probably shouldn't have done. I let my emotions get the best of me, but ended up finding a little bit of a different route. I got a house that's older. It's off Summit Drive, so it's kind of in the historic area, and it's an old house. It needed some work, so I had to put in some sweat equity, which I think maybe scared off some young families that were looking for something that was move-in ready. Actually, underbid, which was still kind of incredible, almost 9 months ago. And got some pretty good equity in it. And then before that, I had a house on Lake Hartwell, and that was kind of a similar thing. I bought it, and the demand was so high. I was like, I can't turn down making this amount of money in a 6-month period. So I can personally attest to that. But one thing I wanted to ask too is, for other young professionals like myself getting out of school, maybe not wanting to rent for forever, what are you seeing them still trying to buy? Are they losing out a lot more because obviously they're not going to have full cash offers? I know that's kind of a big deal right now.
Yeah, so what I have advised some of my clients, and it really depends on the price point that you're looking for. So if you're looking in that price point that's under 300, 300 and under, and actually it might even be hedging up a little bit higher than that now. It's like a feeding frenzy. When something hits the market at that price point, if it's a decent quality home, there will be multiple offers on it. Mm-hmm. The problem that you have and other people have in these situations is that you get a cash buyer coming in. I'll take it cash, no contingencies, quick close, and they'll pay over the asking price for it. You don't have a chance. Anybody that's doing financing contingent on an appraisal, contingent on an inspection, whatever, they're not going to have a chance in those situations.
Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of that too. I know we hear some clients that are either selling and, they come in with the crazy stories of, I had 10 offers in a day, the all cash, no contingencies. Do you think that that's going to come back to bite some people, especially if they're overpaying and then, maybe they didn't do an inspection and they had an issue that, they might not have known
could.
about?
Let me give you an example. So the other day, two days ago, there was a house that came on the market, and I had one of my clients that I've been working with for quite some time, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, I'm interested in this house. It's $465,000. It's up on Paris Mountain, and I'd like to, I'm very interested in making an offer on it." So I said, "Okay, let me do some research." Got into the MLS. It says lots of activity on this home. Offers are due by Tuesday at 3:00. So I said, "Okay, I'll go and look at it. We'll do a FaceTime and we'll check it out." So we go over there, or I go over there, do the FaceTime with them, and the house had an unfinished basement. The rest of the house was in pretty decent condition. So we got down into the basement, and it was raining on Monday, and there was a little bit of water seepage in that basement, just on the block wall, which it's somewhat common to see that, because a lot of people, especially a house that's not lived in, you'll have the gutters filled up, water's not draining properly, around the house. It wasn't like water was pouring in and there was no water on the floor, but you could just see there was some moisture on the wall. So he said, like, "Tom, what should we do? What should we do on an offer?" And I said, "Well, I can just tell you right now, based on my experience and what I know of the market, this house will go north of 500,000, and it will probably sell to somebody that's cash, as is, no contingencies." And so he said, "Okay, well, let me think about it and I'll let you know in a few hours." So he called me back, and he made an offer a little bit higher than the asking price, but it was under 500. And so we submitted the offer. And that evening, the agent sent me an email and said, we had 16 offers on the property. It went well above the asking price. And that basically, I'm just guessing, you can dissect well what that means. I'm thinking it went north of 500. And she said it was as is, no contingencies, quick close. And that's what you get. That's what you're competing with. Mm-hmm. And it makes it hard for somebody, first time home buyer, to get into a home where you have such little inventory, and you have all these sharks out there, and there's a piece of meat in the water and it's gone. It's just picked up so quickly. So what I have done with another one of my clients that was looking for a home in that 275 market, which is a really tough market to buy in. We found her a brand new home that was under construction and was able to get in and get that one. Okay. But you're not really negotiating at that price, at that point, just because.
Can we say new construction? That's like a new home builder. So, you're going in and you may have to wait then. So right. There's going to be some.
She had to wait like 45 days.
But that's a great point, because I was actually going to ask that, in the interest of time, I'll just say I recently helped a family member who had 7 offers in a day and a half, sold for about 12% above asking, which was significant. Mm-hmm. It was in the 3s, no contingencies, all cash.
Yeah.
And I was helping this person evaluate the offers. from a financial standpoint. And I honestly felt bad about the other people. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've got to help my family member, right? But these other people had no chance.
No.
They all were high offers,
Right.
extremely high.
Right.
But you take the cash, no contingencies from out of town,
Right.
out west. And it is difficult, I think, of the 25 to maybe 40-year-old family getting started who saved for a nice down payment. And it's a difficult place. That's great to hear. An option is you might just need to get a new construction and plan your move a little more. And that's a way to get into a house.
And the other suggestion that I have for, first time or any home buyer, and it's not just necessarily first time, it would be prepared when you want to buy a home and you hire an agent, and always hire an agent. And I'll tell you about that in a second, but, be prepared. That means to work with a mortgage broker, and there's a lot of good ones out there. I don't really suggest all the time dealing directly with a bank, because with a mortgage broker, he's going to shop around between different financial institutions and really get you the best deal. And also, the other nice thing about a mortgage broker is, if you get a good one, is they're available just like Kate and I are. We're available almost 24/7. If somebody needs us, if we need that mortgage broker to write a pre-approval letter at 10:30 on a Sunday, we can typically get it, or you're not going to get that from a bank. So have your pre-approval letter ready to go, and really know what you want up in your head. So when you do find the right property, you're not sitting there thinking about it. In this market, you have to be ready to pull that trigger quickly in order to get it. And do everything up front, get everything prepared for. So when you do find that property, boom, and make it as clean as you can, the offer.
So talk about what you just mentioned. In this market, a lot of people think, gee, I can just go out and do this myself, stick a sign in the yard. I certainly believe in the value of professional advice, but maybe from experience thing you've seen, sometimes maybe do people stick a sign? Yes, they sell it, but they don't get the best terms, or they don't get the best deal. And there's a lot more to a transaction than sticking a sign in the yard.
Sure. So let's talk about the buy side for a second. Why should somebody hire an agent like us and Kate, or me and Kate? The reason why is because we would represent the buyer and look out for the buyer's best interest, versus if you went out and you saw a property for sale and you contacted their agent or contacted the seller. Really, nobody's negotiating on your behalf. Nobody's looking out for on your behalf. Nobody's, has the background of different inspectors and people that can look out for your best interests and help you negotiate that. And also on how to write the contract. And also on the sell side, the reason why you want an agent is because the agent really knows the market, really knows how to price the home. We've done some properties, as you know, and we've gotten more than what the seller wanted for the property, just because we know the market so well. And for example, there was a property down at the lake, and a friend of mine had told me about this person wanting to sell. And she had talked to a couple real estate agents, and she was also thinking about just listing it on Zillow by herself. And we came in and looked at the home, and we said, well, we're going to ask over $2 million for the home. And she was like, what? And I said, yeah, we've done some research, and this home will do north of $2 million. And she's like, well, I talked to other agents, and they were telling me it's worth 1.8, and the Zestimate on it from Zillow is 1.75. And I said, well, when you deal with us, we're known to get top dollar for the properties. We're the number one real estate company on Lake Keowee in Western MLS, the highest rated team in the Western MLS. And so believe in us on what we do from a marketing standpoint and also, everything that we do and what our agency has been proven to do in our reputation. So we listed the home for $2.139 million. And we said, if we sell it ourselves, we'll, save you some commission versus if it was, another agent coming in. So before it even hit the market, we had all the pictures done, had everything ready to go. I had a call from one of my clients out of Naples, Florida, and they called me about another property that they wanted to fly up and come look at. Well, the next day, that property was gone. So I called my client back and I said, hey, that property sold. It's under contract, but I do have this other property. It's more money because they were looking at a $1.6 million property. This one's more money. It's 2.139, and it hasn't hit the market yet. And if you want to come see it, come see it. And they came up, and we were getting ready to, put it in the MLS. And we put it in the MLS that morning, and they came up and saw it that day, and they said, we'll take it. So we got our seller way more money than what they thought they were going to get for the property, and we saved them on the commission.
And no hassle. That's what
Right.
So the thing I think I see people missing sometimes, even in our industry, is there's a hassle factor. This stuff is complicated. You're talking about contracts and, things you do. Certainly we see that being financial advisors and hand walking them through it. Especially people that have been successful. They're doing a lot of things to be successful. Their expertise might be in pharmaceuticals or manufacturing, and they may be multimillionaires, but they're not writing real estate contracts every day. Or for us, they're not doing financial planning and investments every day.
Right.
So we see the value of being experts in what you're doing. And I know the value of a good realtor or financial advisor, whatever it might be,
Sure.
any service,
Right.
if you get the right one.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing I wanted to say off that too is, so actually my first real estate deal was an off-market deal as well. And I think that's another reason that, using a realtor, that wasn't even on the MLS yet. They would have never even known about it. If it would have been on the MLS, probably would have been sold before they even got to fly up. So I think that's another value add too that you guys provide is,
Sure.
hey, I'm not just on the, I have clients all over. I could do, like you said, it was on market, but off market deal before it ever even got listed.
Right.
And today you got to have that.
Yeah. Save time, save hassle. You're the first one in, boom. They were ready to make a buy and worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yeah,
another thing that people might
it was all
overlook.
about timing.
Yep.
And, as agents, this is what we do.
Right.
This is, we know what's coming on. We know another agent has talked to us about something. So it's important to, like I said, to be prepared and to be able to quickly make that decision. Some people have a tough time making a decision. I know it's a lot of money. It could be the most expensive thing that you ever buy in your lifetime. And, but that's going to cost you too in this market.
You may end up spending more because you couldn't make a decision.
Right.
We see that.
I
again.
happen to see it all the time. Penny wise, dollar foolish.
We see it in our business as well. It's funny. So we're maybe working with someone that's got, I don't know, $2-3 million. Like, gee, if they made good decisions, they'd have 10. So
Yeah.
No decision is still a decision.
it's still a decision. It might be a bad one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we see that as well. I know one thing I want to make sure that we get in and we talk about is tell our audience a little bit, what's the difference in a lake property? So if someone's looking for a second home, vacation home, where they're going to transition up to the lake, how's that market work different than maybe a traditional, hey, I'm just living in the suburbs in Greenville or downtown Greenville?
Well, again, this is why you need an agent. I have had people call me from out of town that are on Zillow or Realtor.com looking at properties. And they were, I want to come look at this lake lot that just hit the market. And I'll pull it up on a map and I'll kind of see where the lot is located. So there's a lot of parameters that you need to look at or attributes that you need to look at when you look at purchasing a lake lot or a lake home. So where is it located on the lake? How hard is it to get to? How steep is the lot? What's the water quality like? I have seen properties hit the market that are a great looking home, but the water is really bad. It's murky. You wouldn't want to swim in it. It's shallow, and it's like up at the end of a finger on a lake on the lake, and it's you gotta worry about that silt constantly going into the lake, making it shallower. It's not going to get any deeper. It's going to get constantly shallower. So location, 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 the three words about real estate.
And you got to probably have boots on the ground there, man. You can do a lot of stuff on Zillow, but you got to have somebody
you got to
see that.
physically look at it. And I have walked so many different lots, and I've done FaceTime with out-of-state buyers, and some of them have been really great experiences. And I would say, hey, you know what? I know what these properties are like, and this one's the diamond in the rough. Get it? Or I'll be walking down, and I'll say, this thing is so steep, it's like a ski slope. And, by the time you get down to your dock or trying to get back up, you're going to be out of breath. And when you get down there, the water just was stagnant. See, sometimes on the end of a cove, you get all the debris coming in there, branches and coolers and all kinds of stuff coming in there. And in only certain times of the year. So you really need to know the lake very well. And you also need to know about docks and about dock permits, about how that works and how you can, how many feet you need of lake frontage in order to qualify for a dock. Is it going to be a platform dock? Is it going to be an open covered dock? There's so many different things that you need to know. Is the lot even dockable? So
it's more complicated is what I'm hearing.
It's very complicated.
And if I'm speaking for my wife, because we're looking for all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is, what's the view? And I don't want to look at power lines.
Right.
So I don't want to look at power lines. We want to have it calm, but I want to be near open water.
Or trees that you can't cut down.
Or trees you can't cut down.
Right.
And how steep is it? Because,
does it go to the 800 or the 804?
Yeah. So it is, I would, as a layman, would absolutely agree the value in someone helping you with that. Those properties are much more specific.
Right. The other thing too on buying a lake lot is, wow, I can get this for a great deal, but it's steep.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you may put $100,000 into a foundation and site work that you wouldn't have to do in a flatter lot. So keep that in mind too. Right. And it's always, no matter how much money you sink into it, it's still going to be a steep lot.
Right.
So,
but that could be a good deal if that was better than spending $300,000. So
it could be.
I mean, it could. I'm not saying it is.
It just depends on what your budget is.
Right.
But you also need to know that, okay, I'm going to buy this for $100,000, but I'm still going to have to stick this much more money into it. And also, when you're building on a steep lot, even if you put that bigger foundation in, your builder's probably going to charge you more because they're going to have to put scaffolding up, and they're going way higher now to build your house. So there's a lot of parameters where I have a lot of construction background, and I work with a builder. Been working with this one builder since 1994. And he's actually building up at the Ridge at Keowee. Great builder, and I've learned so much from him. And so it's really important to know construction, that the agent really understands construction, has a lot of background in construction.
Awesome. Well, this has been helpful for me. I guess for our audience, is there any other considerations you might give them, to think about as they're purchasing or selling real estate, whether it's the first time or the 15th time?
Well, it's important to have a knowledgeable agent in your area, number one. Be prepared. Like I said, work with a mortgage broker. We have several that we could refer people to. And really have knowledge of the area that you're buying in. A lot of people, say, oh, I found this house and I really like it and it seems like a really good deal. I said, have you walked the neighborhood yet? Walk it at different times of the day. Find out who your neighbors are going to be. You're making a multiple, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars investment. You don't want to find out afterwards that, hey, my next door neighbor or this guy over here has got all this junk in his yard, and he plays
or a dog barking.
Yeah, Yeah. Or, there's adverse conditions, there's a power plant or, there's this plant and at 2:00 in the morning, it smells really bad, or something, or it makes a lot of noise or whatever. So you really need to understand the condition, but really work with an agent that can bring out all these ideas to you and open your eyes to what you're getting yourself into, because you don't want to find out afterwards.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I want to mention, we can talk about this next time, is June 13th, there's a new state contract coming out. It's basically the same contract that we have right now, the buy-sell contract, but it's only going to have the due diligence section on it. The as-is and the repair procedure sections are going to be removed from the contract. But we can talk about that. That's a whole nother thing that we can talk about. What is due diligence and how it does affect the buyers and the sellers.
And that's a great reason for someone to reach out to you. So we're going to close the wrap up here. I'm going to let Cameron ask our signature question.
Okay.
Yes. So we always ask our lucky guest this. So what makes you tick?
I love to work. Okay. I love to work. I love to take care of our clients. I'm a people person. I'm very passionate about what we do. And I'm available. I respond to text messages. I respond to emails. I respond to phone calls. I answer my phone. And we work after hours all the time. And that's what makes a successful person in business. It doesn't matter if it's just this business or any business. It's being responsive to your customer. But that is your drive from inside. And I've always been that way. So that's what makes me tick, is I love what I do.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's honest. Some of the things you said, we say at our firm as well. It's our ability to respond to people. It's amazing. How many people just don't respond to anything nowadays. So that's great to hear. And certainly know personally you do that. So we appreciate it. And
that's why I'm an agent, is I was an investor for so many years, 20 years. And I was giving my business to agents that really didn't do anything and didn't even really respond to me.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, why am I doing this? And when I met Kate, I actually hired her because I saw her social media impact on her marketing. And it was beyond any other type of marketing that I've ever saw. And I was an investor, and I had a property, and I said, hey, come over and take a look at this property and let me know what you think, because I need to have somebody that's going to really market the property.
Right.
So she came over, looked at it, and she gave me some ideas that I didn't even realize about this property, some really great ideas that I didn't even think about. And I thought, this girl's really on it. But she was very responsive to me. She responded back to my phone calls or text or emails. And I said, that's the kind of agent that I want. So to make a long story short, we got married. She got me as a real estate agent. We work with the same company. We're a team. And you know what? If we're out at dinner and the phone rings and I need to take that call, it's okay. She doesn't get upset with me, and it works the other way around. So we make a great team, but it's all about taking care of that customer or that client.
That's awesome. It's been great. And so tell our audience, if they wanted to find you or Kate, how would they locate you or contact you for real estate needs?
Really easy. It's tom@justinwinter.com or Kate, Cate, @justinwinter.com. And my phone number is 864-616-7529. And our website is justinwinter.com. And we're with Justin Winter, Sotheby's International Realty.
Well, Tom, this has been real helpful. We're actually got some things we're already talking about another episode.
Yeah.
We'll leave that off. And it sounds like people might need to reach out to you about this contract and just thank you and the work you and Kate are doing out in our neighborhoods and,
I appreciate
and community.
So it's been great.
Awesome.
Look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. And thank everyone for joining this edition of Connected by Community. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the various social media platforms, and also various podcast platforms. Until we see you next time, go out and make our community great.